Morning everybody, this is On coming to you with this month's video, and it's a bright sunny morning here in Maine. As you can see, we're in a winter wonderland, and quite a shift from just a couple of months ago here. But I wanted to get this month's video out to you, and it's a cold morning, so I'm going to do my best to kind of probably keep this a little bit quicker if possible, and you'll probably see me shifting around a bit just to try to keep my hands warm this morning. So anyways, what I have going on this month is about trust and receiving, and how does trust affect our success in life? How does trust affect what we are receiving in life? And this is a really big piece, because so many times we say, well, we're doing all the actions, why am I not receiving? I'm taking all of the steps, why are things not coming through? And a big part of things is trust, and trust is heavy in our codes. It's been heavy in our codes in 2018, it's been heavy in our codes, and it will be heavy in our codes again in 2012. And so, I mean 2012, 2019, oh my goodness, I'm really with it this morning. So when I look at these pieces here, and the trust pieces, in 2018, it was really about learning to trust ourselves to stand up and take care of things. And in 2019, it's going to be about trusting a lot of ways how we are able to handle life and deal with life. So there's a couple of different pieces here, and trust is an amazing piece. It runs on a success pattern. It naturally has a success coding to it that will generate success for us. And if we operate in trust, that is what's going to unfold, because it naturally brings about a sort of recognition, a sort of functioning from awareness. And trust is actually founded a lot in truth. So that's a very interesting piece as well. Truth, as we know, has been a big player, and calling out the lies in our life, calling out where we're not living truthfully in our lives. So when we look at the way that trust flows, trust is about realizing that we want a victory. We want to make something work. We want to create something. We're facing a personal challenge, and it turns into a journey when we're facing personal challenges of learning, where we can go, and following the road without even really knowing what our destination is, and finding joy in that journey. And that journey is really about unfolding and discovering ourselves. And as we do that, we create a victory. We create a personal victory for ourselves. Now, what's very interesting about this is a lot of people say, well, I have faith. And faith is another really interesting piece, because faith actually does run on the same code pattern that trust does. But faith operates in a totally different way. So when I look at this, trust is actually, I like to relate it maybe kind of like being in the Buddha's path, or being in a more Buddhist Zen kind of philosophy, whereas faith is more of the shaman's path. And I say that because faith is a little more horizontal or material world based. It's more about overcoming physical challenges, whereas trust is about overcoming personal intrinsic challenges, finding intrinsic values, living by intrinsic values. And it doesn't make one better or the other, because what happens is when we're operating on faith, faith is about our possessions. It's about what we're holding in the world. It's about our wisdom to move through the world, our ability to be still in the turbulence, and to find the victories among the turbulence. It's about seeing our way through those tests and those trials and those tribulations. And so they're just two different directions to basically the same end result. And so oftentimes what happens is we are programmed in this world that trust and is really this super high risk thing. It's this high risk, you shouldn't be doing it, and when you do that, you're going to get hurt, you're going to get burned. And this is where people throw up a lot of the resistances. This is where they block their successes, because they don't really trust. They say, well, I'll let it go, but they don't. And they hang on, and they hang on to their fears, and they're working from the fears instead of really the trust. And when we know we're in trust because we're following the journey. We know we're in trust because we're experiencing joy regardless of what is showing up on the material realm, regardless of what we think we have. So it kind of releases us from that attachment to a specific outcome. And we start embracing what we're going through. So it's a really exciting process when we look at this process of trust. So we know we're in faith when we're overseeing the challenges. We know we're in trust when we're ending up in the successes, when we're finding joy on that journey. And when we do that, what we're doing is we're aligning with intrinsic values that are so incredible to our soul and our spirit that the physical world cannot help but respond to that, and cannot help but unfold the blessings to us that provide us with the material world successes. Because as we know, the material world responds to the spiritual processes. So this is a really, really power piece, and I hope you're going to implement this, and I hope you'll think about this as we transition from one year to another, because we do have a lot of exciting things coming up in the next year, and we have successes, and I want you to be able to receive them, and I want you to be able to explore these successes this year in 2019. And they're there. There might be some stresses and some tensions there, but what happens is if we stand in trust, what we're doing is we're actually making wise choices. It's not this high-risk chance that we're taking. We're placing a value in an experience. And when we trust, what we're doing is we actually are operating from a base of wisdom. Where it's like a calculated risk. It's a risk that you know you can get through. And if you don't know you can get through it, you need to break it down a little bit more to where you can trust it, and then take those steps that you can trust. So trust is really also coming into the self, and it's coming into alignment with one's whole self. And when we're in that alignment, we remove the fears, we're operating in wholeness, and things just naturally unfold from there. I hope this has been really beneficial to you. I'm going to head out of here because it's super, super cold. And I will see everybody in the new year. Take care. Love y'all.